Hello. Today's story is a Christmas story. It's a very special story about a very special reindeer. It's Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. This is a story about Father Christmas. So listen carefully, Charlotte, and remember you have to write Father Christmas a letter so he knows what you want for Christmas. Okay? Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Once there was a reindeer named Rudolph who lived at the North Pole in Toyland. Rudolph was younger and smaller than the other reindeer there. They all had proud, tall antlers. Rudolph's antlers were only tiny stubs. Worst of all, Rudolph had a nose that was big and bright and red. It was so red it glowed in the dark. See Rudolph's glowing nose? And he lives at a place called Toyland. Would you like to visit Toyland, sweetie? Poor Rudolph. He wanted to be like the other reindeer in Toyland. Oh, to have a small brown nose instead of a big bright red one. The other reindeer made fun of Rudolph and called him names. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, they teased over and over again until tears glistened on Rudolph's large red nose. Oh man, you shouldn't call people names, should you? That's a very horrible thing to do. I don't like people that call other people names. Sometimes the other reindeer made a circle around Rudolph and sang, red nose, a funny sight, big as an apple and twice as bright. They kicked up snowballs with their tiny hoofs and covered Rudolph with a blanket of white fluffy snow. Oh man, the bullies. What should we say to bullies, Charlotte? We should say, no, don't do that. Stop it now. All the reindeer loved to play games. They played tree tag and snow slide and tumble bones. Oh, you can slide on snow. That's lots of fun. We've got to remember the snow is cold. But Rudolph was never asked to play. Oh, poor Rudolph. They're bullying him. He stood behind a pine tree and watched. He was very lonely. Rudolph couldn't even play hide and seek with the rabbits. His glowing red nose gave him away every time. Oh man, the rabbits are so clever they can see his red nose from very, very far away. Before Christmas Eve, Santa's elves posted a sign on the gate to Toyland. Santa's team choosing time, the sign said. All the reindeer were asked to line up at 8 o'clock in the meadow. Santa Claus was coming to choose the team that would deliver presents to every good little boy and girl in the world. Oh, see, Santa only gives presents to good girls and good boys. Have you been a good girl to deserve a present from Santa? The reindeer fairly danced with excitement when they heard the news. They pranced and tossed their antlers and pawed the snowy ground with their hoofs. Each reindeer hoped he would be chosen to guide Santa's sleigh. It was the greatest honour a reindeer could ever have. Oh, to guide, that means to go in front and show the way. Rudolph sighed. He was ashamed to have Santa see his bright red nose, so he decided to hide. Oh, Rudolph, don't hide. You should go and see Santa. He might like your red nose. At 8 o'clock, when all the other reindeer had gone to the meadow, Rudolph hid behind a holly hedge. His bright red nose blended in with the bright red berries, and a thick growth of leaves concealed the rest of him. No one would find him there. In the meadow, all the reindeer in Toyland except Rudolph stood in a line, while Santa inspected them. Santa chose carefully. Only the fastest, the strongest, and the best reindeer would do. See Santa choosing the reindeer? Santa's got a big white beard and a jolly tummy. And what does Santa say? He says, what? Ah, ho, ho, ho! I think Dasher will be fine. He's the biggest reindeer, said Santa. Dasher, wrote his elf assistant in a big book. And Dancer is the strongest, said Santa, pulling his beard. Dancer, wrote the elf. Ho, ho, let's see, continued Santa. Here's Prancer and here's Vixen. They make the smoothest landings on rooftops. Comet is the fastest and Cupid is the most sure-footed, said Santa. I pick them. And last, said Santa, I choose Donder and Blitzen. They are best at twisting over treetops and skimming over telephone poles. The reindeer in Santa's team were very happy. They rubbed noses, they danced and clinked their antlers together. Even the reindeer who weren't chosen were given good jobs. One was to try out electric trains. Another was to cuddle Christmas kittens. Oh, do you like playing with electric trains? I think they're lots of fun, right? What job would you like to have, Charlotte? The only reindeer without a job was Rudolph. He wanted to help, but he knew he would be laughed at. So he stayed hidden behind the holly hedge. See Rudolph hiding? I don't like it when he has to hide. At last it was Christmas Eve. Santa's elves were busy packing the sleigh. I don't care if they do make fun of me, said Rudolph suddenly. I want to help too. He dashed from his hiding place behind the hedge and went to find Santa. There must be something I can do to help, he decided. See, the elves are putting all the presents in the sleigh. I wonder if there's one for Charlotte inside. Do you think there is? The night was bitter cold and a terrible fog covered all the earth. See, the elves even bang into each other because they can't see where they're going because of the fog. Santa's elves kept bumping into each other as they hitched up the team. They could hardly see as they put on each bright red harness and tied each jingle bell. To make matters worse, Dasher and Dancer were fighting over who was to be lead reindeer. I was chosen first, said Dasher, stamping angrily. But you always trip over the moon, said Dancer, kicking a fallen star. Even Santa was cross. We'll never get there if you two don't stop quarrelling, he said. And where is my Christmas list? Dash it all, I can't see a thing in this fog. Oh, what's it going to do? They need something bright and shiny to show them the way, don't they? Can you think of anything bright and shiny that might be able to help? Just then, a soft red glow lit up the snow. Thank goodness, said Santa, suddenly jolly again. I found my list. Ho, ho, ho! I must have tucked it in my belt. Who bought this fine lantern? Asked Santa. I must take it with me. Why, I can see perfectly now. It's not a lantern, said Rudolph, trembling. The light comes from my nose. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, said Santa. I'm certainly glad to see you. Your light will guide my sleigh tonight. I appoint you head of my team and number one reindeer in all the world. Rudolph held his head high. Proudly he pranced to the front of the team. See his bright red nose? It's going to show all the others where to go. Isn't that great? All the other reindeer bowed. Donder and Dancer helped Rudolph put on his harness, and Cupid gave him a beautiful sprig of holly berries. Then down, down, down through the clouds and over the sleeping houses, Santa and his team flew on that foggy Christmas Eve. And leading the whole procession was Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. See if you see a soft glow in the sky on Christmas Eve. You can be sure that Rudolph, the most famous reindeer of all, is very near. Wow, I like that story. Now you should ask Mummy to play you the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You ask her to look it up on YouTube and see if you can find the song. It goes, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. You ask Mummy to find you the rest of it, okay? And it'll be on YouTube. Love you, sweetie. Good night.